nature. If you don't know what you are, then you don't know the nature of what you are. So a beam of sunlight that is complaining about its darkness does not have a darkness problem. It has a cognition, a self-awareness, a self-perception problem, right? So when you are divine in nature and you are saying that you are insufficient, worried, frustrated, angry, hurt, broken, alone, any of these things, those are not your actual problems. I know this is hard to hear until you hear the full thing, so please hear it out. Your problem is that you have forgotten your nature. What are you? You are divine. Okay. Let's talk about what it means to be divine, right? You are one and the same with what created you. Okay? I'm not going to ask you to believe any large statements about God or miracles or any of that. I'm going to just use absolute logic here so that your mind will not be able to argue with you and say that this doesn't make sense, because I promise you that's the very first thing that's happening. As a matter of fact, chances are your mind is doing that right now. So let's go straight for logic, because on this journey you have to get the mind to cooperate. And the way to do this is to say, mind, you know, even if you can't feel it right now, you know that this is true, right? So you are made of, you are an aspect, a piece of something. Let's call it God or the source or the universe. Either way, you are not a separate thing from that. You are a form that has taken. And the thing about not being separate from it, from God, let's use the word God because this is what we're talking about. Not being separate from God means that you are all of God. Where God is, all of God is. This ties into the holographic principle, which we'll get into later, but it's the idea that God is not modular. He doesn't have pieces and sections. He doesn't have departments, and you are not a subset of one of those characteristics of God. You are made of the thing that God is made of. So, for example, let's use the metaphor of clay. If I were a potter and I were making something out of clay, if I made a bowl out of clay and a cup out of clay and a plate out of clay, the one thing that all of those things know is that they're made out of clay, right? So they won't be magnetic because they're not made out of steel. And, they, whatever properties, if I can understand what clay is, then I can understand what the cup and the plate and the bowl are, because they're not cup, plate, bowl, they are clay, right? It's about understanding the fabric from which you're made. So God is, by definition, the everythingness that is, right? The great force, the mystery, the consciousness, the one solitary consciousness that is aware of everything, the dreamer who is dreaming, whatever perception you have in your mind, right? I mean, even as a atheist scientist, you can say, okay, there's one governing force that governs every single other sub-force in the world. Whatever you think of. I think of God as the mother of everything, whatever. The one thing we can agree on is that God is everything. So that means that God has no lack. God does not go, gosh, I wish I had this. Right? So that's really important. You, as a subset of God, are also by nature already, you have a sense, you can have an experience of the sense of having everything and being utterly fulfilled and lacking nothing. You require nothing. God is also everywhere, which means that God is in everything, every place, every situation, and every person and every relationship. God is not separate. That means that God is not frustrated. God is not overwhelmed. God is connected. God is unified. God is in coherence. in resonance. God is co-creating. So these are all aspects of, if you can, when you experience your, when you remember, and we'll get into this, which is like the more important part of the video. It's coming up in about 5 minutes. When you become aware of these aspects of yourself, you become aware, you cease to be aware of the illusion of conflict and strife and frustration. And I know it sounds like I'm oversimplifying it. And I'm not saying that you're just going to meditate and be like, oh my God, I'm God and everything works great. No, but you're going to realize nothing is my enemy. Even my boss or that guy at work or my neighbor, the family member that is challenging me to my core is not my enemy. We are co-creating a situation in which he is learning let's assume that person is unconscious. That person is refulfilling their emotional blockage in a loop, and I am fulfilling my desire to release pains and triggers inside of me. And the two of us together, we're co-creating. So we're not fighting. We're co-creating an experience. It's hard to describe in a 2-minute video, but you're gonna experience this more and more and more and more until eventually it's how you see the world, and you'll understand that this is what the world is. It's a play of consciousness. It's an exchange of energy, and it's not what you think it is. Like, it's not what the mind thinks it is. But anyhow, so we know that God is everywhere, everything. What else? God is not in need of change or upgrade or perfection in any way. And that implies that God is, to state it simply, God is perfect. God is content and just right as is. God is the absolute opposite of unhappiness. So let's talk about happiness and unhappiness for a second here. We are trained to believe that happiness is something that you attain. Happiness, I have it. I have got happiness, and I add it onto my being, and I'm like, now I am happy. It's actually quite the opposite. Unhappiness is what you get. Your base state isn't some sort of blissful, oh my God, I'm so happy. But instead, your bliss state is, I'm good. I lack nothing. I need nothing. I want nothing. I'm content. And that is happiness. It's not elation. You're not going to see fireworks or anything. You're just going to be like, oh, okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. And then when you go out there and you fall for illusions or get caught up in different things or engage in different things, then you go, oh, look, unhappiness. And then you find unhappiness and you're like, I have unhappiness. It's the other way around from how we've been taught. Okay, I want to get to the core of this video, because you can read the other stuff. You can see more about this in other videos that I do. You can read about it in the book, the concept of, what are our properties. And whenever I talk about being, even when I lead the meditation on being, I make you aware of the fact that in this state, you are eternal, undamageable, unchangeable, content, and peaceful, right? So I don't want to go too much more into that, although I could. If you do have questions on it, these videos flow with the questions that you guys have. So go ahead and ask me, and I will veer into that direction, even if I have to segue and make a different video. But for now, I want to talk about okay. You see, I see things. I see, so now I have to make you see what I see. Okay, so being is, you'll notice throughout all of my teachings, I talk about being as an action. I talk about it as a state. I talk about it as your nature. I talk about it almost like it's a person. It's all the same. But for now, let's say being. Hang on just a sec. Okay, sorry about that. So being is, let's describe this as a state, okay? This is your God state, your basic state, your real state, your original state, your authentic state. This is a state of content, fulfilled, peaceful, connected, You have everything, you're connected to everything, there's no conflict. That state, being, right? But are you this right now? Yes. You cannot not be this being, right? A speck of sunlight is never at any moment in time not sunlight. But what you are, you as an individual human being, you are a locus, a specific point, and you are eyes. So imagine that God had 8 billion pairs of eyes or more, because there's all the other life forms, but God has many, many places from which God is perceiving and looking at life. So you right now, where you are, this place where you are, is the eyes to see. So you are seeing, and your experience of life is based on what you see. So this being state and the properties and nature of being are yours to experience if your awareness is on being, right? So the state of being is happiness. For the sake of tying this into a traditional teaching and statement, the awareness of being is bliss. Let's say that being is bliss. It is the happiest you can get, the most content you can get. It is the raw, natural state of I need nothing. It is a little baby staring off in space and smiling. It is a puppy hanging his face out the window and just enjoying the drive. It is just, I'm happy without cause. There's just joy. Life is just good. I'm good. Being is bliss if you are aware of it. If your awareness is looking at being, then you are experiencing bliss. So the awareness of being is bliss, right? I know it sounds like I'm making this up. I promise you I'm not. I did a video once recently where I asked AI, I said, hey, read every single ancient text, every sacred teaching, every ancient book, everything written by saints and sages and yogis over millennia, and summarize it into one sentence. And it said, when you go beyond the illusions of your collective trauma and pain, and you realize your true nature, you realize that nature is the happiest state that is possible, and that you are already that, if you remember to be aware of it. That statement, the awareness of being is bliss, Satchitananda, it's the absolute truth. I'm not making this up. If you spend your entire life looking and seeking, that is what you will realize, that you already have the nature, but the problem is that you're not aware of it. Okay, so how do you solve this? You solve this by realizing that your awareness is the missing link. Being already is. Bliss is already the property and nature of being, of the state of being. The fact that you exist. There is currently the potential experience of bliss, but you can only experience what you're looking at. So, if you look at, if you place your awareness on warmth, on heat, you will feel warm. If you place your awareness on anything, like I can just give you a million metaphors, but if you place your awareness on vulnerability, your experience is fear. If you place your awareness on injustice, your experience is injustice, resentment, revenge. If you place your awareness on the darkness that other people carry and bring in front of you and try to show you and try to put onto you, then your experience is of darkness. They give you there like an infection. They give you the darkness that they're consumed with, and you your poor little traumatized hurt self becomes stuck in the audacity of the darkness that they presented to you. And your awareness is of the darkness, and now your experience is of the darkness. Pain, hurt, hate, violence, any number of different things. I am very carefully not telling you to ignore those experiences, or that those experiences didn't happen, or that you caused them, or you're suffering because it's your fault, or you should just ignore them and pretend to be happy. No. I am saying that what you are, the eyes located in this spot, experiencing this world, and the being that is coming through this locus, those eyes looked at something for a moment that was so horrific that those eyes got like deer in headlights, you know, the metaphorical deer in headlights, when the car comes and the deer's like, oh, and it doesn't want to move because now it's just like headlights, 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 can't move, can't move, can't move. It forgot who it is, where it is, and where home is, and where safety is. It's just headlights, headlights, headlights. And you're popping your horn, you're blowing your horn, and the deer's just like, and it just gets worse. The jolt of whatever hurt you, scared you, wounded you, caused you to become frozen and staring at the thing that is causing the problem. Just like the deer staring at the headlights, you are staring at pain, 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 pain. Pain in yourself, pain in other people, pain in possible future scenarios. And whereas you should live out the experience of pain, process it and release it, get into your mind and say, what is a reasonable way to reasonably prevent any amount of this happening again? Okay, you know, whatever, put a lock on your door, whatever. Thing that needs to happen. Okay, I've done that. Now I've moved on. Okay. Whew, all right, that was a good co-creation. That was a good way of processing something that happened in life. Now I remember that I'm being. I return my awareness to being. That's how it's supposed to be. And the problem is that trauma traps like a bear trap. It just and it traps your awareness in one spot, and your awareness forgets even that there was something else to be aware of. It forgets its nature. It forgets that it can be aware of that. So I guess your problem isn't really, remember we're saying being, that bliss is here in being, and awareness can experience bliss if you put your awareness on it, right? So the weakness is that your awareness is not on bliss. The true problem here is that you have forgotten that you are awareness and that you can move awareness, and you've forgotten how. That is the problem. So you are captivated by whatever is placed in front of you. And it turns out that what is placed in front of you is the next thought in your thought stream and the resultant emotion. And that is caused by your mind, your thought stream, which is really just an algorithm. It is an algorithm responding to how you responded in the past. If you scroll through YouTube and you see a video on cooking, and you look at the video on cooking and you hit like, YouTube's algorithm, the AI, the thought stream known as your video feed, will start saying, oh, cooking videos, and it'll just send you cooking videos over and over and over and over and over and over. And it's almost like the video feed has forgotten that there's something called gardening videos. And your awareness, having forgotten that you don't have to watch what comes in front of you, you've forgotten cooking, gardening videos, car videos, kitty cat videos. All you know is cooking videos. And you're like, why have I been staring at cooking videos for 25 years? It's not the feed's fault. It's the fault of the fact that you have forgotten what am I looking at? Why am I looking at this? And couldn't I choose to look at something else? That's the thing. The loss of our conscious ability to shift awareness where we want happens so early in life that we have forgotten that it is an ability that we have. I can describe it as someone, imagine that you are paralyzed in, that you were born paralyzed without the ability to use your legs, and you're laying in bed in your hospital bed and you can't use your legs, but there's this magical surgery and this doctor comes and he reconnects the muscles and the nerves of your legs, and then you wake up from surgery and all the doctors and nurses and your friends and family are there and they're like, yay, you can use your leg again, and you're like, nope, I can't use my leg. And then the doctor says, yeah, just move your leg. And then you go, why? I don't know. What do you mean move my leg? And the doctor says you need to go and become aware that your leg is movable. And when you tell it to move, it will move automatically. You don't really know what a muscle or a tendon is, but when you tell the leg to move, muscles and tendons will lift that leg and move it. I know you haven't done it in decades, but let's practice. And that's what I'm here to do, is to tell you that you have the ability to move your awareness. Okay, so bliss is yours. Bliss is always there in being, and you can't have this as your experience if you put your awareness on it, but your awareness isn't on it. And you have forgotten where your awareness is, and you've forgotten that you can move your awareness. So your awareness is, first, just to summarize, your awareness is on the thoughts in your thought stream, the input of your five senses, the awareness of your body. That's essentially it. The thoughts in your thought streams are memories of the past and projections of the future. So that little package that I described is where your awareness is. And if I were to document your life, like follow you around and listen to you talk about your life, you would talk about only those things. What I remember from the past, what I fear or hope for the future, what my body is telling me, what I taste, what I sense, what I feel, what I experience, how much physical pleasure that was, how much I enjoyed watching this movie. That's what you have limited the experience of life to, because you have limited your awareness to those things. Okay, so now it comes down to moving, and of course there's the whole rest of the book and I don't want to go on forever, but it comes down to, okay, we know that the free will of moving your awareness is up to you, and it is the root cause of the problem and therefore the root solution to your problem. How do you move awareness? So thought comes in, I hate that horrible human being, and you go, no, I'm not paying attention to that. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work because you don't know where else to put the awareness. If you don't put it somewhere, it will go back to the thoughts. So what we're gonna learn together is how to first recognize awareness is not where I want it to be, then realize I have the choice to move this awareness where I want it, and then say, okay, awareness, I'm going to take you off of this issue, and I'm going to put you back on the awareness of being. That's what this journey is about. It is much simpler than you think, but it cannot happen unless you are aware of what has happened. And the vast majority of people in this world don't know what happened because we just don't talk about it. We just don't teach it. We just don't practice it. So let's change the norm. Let's create a new norm where people live a life aware of awareness. Yeah. So anyhow, I hope this has made sense. Again, I encourage you guys, send me questions. Even if I don't have the ability to answer your questions directly, they will inform me as to what to make videos about, and I will make a video about that topic. So I hope this has been helpful. I have a couple other videos that I'm going to add to this email. I hope you enjoy all of those, and just have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next weekend. Okay. Take care, everyone. Bye.